Gears, welcome to the Onyx Academy, where I will be covering the Marksman in today's video. Everything about the class will be covered, giving you 2 different meta builds, all within 6 minutes. These builds are purely meta, that most people gravitate to, but if these don't match up with your playstyle, then be sure to change these up to suit yourself. With that out of the way, let's begin. Starting with the ultimate ability first, which is called X-Ray, allowing you to see and shoot enemies through walls, with all your shots passing through an unlimited number of walls and enemies. The duration of X-Ray is 15 seconds and has a cooldown of 400 seconds. Dealing damage to enemies will shorten this. Shooting through walls also grants a damage boost, but it's hard to say what this value is. While X-Ray is active, you can only shoot ballistic weapons through walls, explosives will not pass through. Ballistic hits will gain 100% penetration when hitting an enemy in their critical spot, occasionally allowing some collateral kills. The standard loadout of the Marksman will consist of the Markser, long shot and bolt-up pistol. Your starting loadout is fairly perfect for this class, and I would only suggest swapping for an M-bar if you take specific skill cards. The builds for the Marksman are next, and our first is the Omniscience build, focusing on your ultimate ability to take out as many enemies whilst hiding behind cover. Here are the skill cards. Critical Parade, granting up to 3.75 seconds of additional duration on X-Ray with every kill while active. Long Shot Handling. Critical kills with the long shot have a 50 to 100% chance to instantly active reload the weapon. Exploit Weakness. Increases the critical damage you inflict by 20 to 55%. This buff includes, but isn't limited to, precision rifles. Ambush. Critically hitting enemies with at least 90% health will increase your critical damage by up to 100%. Here you have a choice. Modified long shot, granting up to 30% additional damage and active effects with the long shot rifle. Explosive critical kill. Critically killing enemies will cause a small explosion around them, dealing up to 85% damage to surrounding enemies. Let's cover perks next, which should also be taken in this order. Damage cooldown. Granting up to 50% additional cooldown on damage dealt. 10,000 damage ordinarily gives 30 seconds on your cooldown, this ups it to 45. Precision rifle damage. Increasing the overall damage dealt by precision rifles by up to 50%. Stacks additively with modified long shot. Critical damage. Increasing all critical damage dealt by any weapon by up to 50%. This doesn't offer as much of a damage boost as precision rifle damage, which is why I recommend it third. Ammo capacity. Increases the carrying capacity of all weapons by up to twice the standard amount, although a level 4 weapon locker costs less energy than maxing out this perk. When playing shorter game modes like Horde Frenzy, I would only suggest putting points into your first 2 perks so you don't strangle your engineer of energy, with 6 to 8 points in each being more than good enough. Your starting loadout is perfect already. Take an M-bar if you prefer it over the Markser, and take your preferred grenade of choice. The Omniscience build works best with Veteran. The free aimbot offered by the Veteran is a blessing for the Marksman. Don't scope in with your long shot if you use your X-Ray at the same time. Mechanic or Architect. Both are great classes to build plenty of fortifications to slow down enemies, letting you keep your distance from them. This build will struggle when paired with Marksman. Having multiple might sound like a great idea, but a bug exists where multiple marksmen using their X-Ray will cancel the effect for whichever one uses it first. Nomad. Feared enemies move quickly and typically away from players, making critical hits difficult. Robotics Expert. This class also relies on getting critical kills to heal their fortifications, so try not to take all the kills. If you choose to use this build, it will need modifying if any of these mutators are showing up. Ultra slow recharge, close range gambit. This Omniscience build can be used up to and including master difficulty, requiring a minimum class level of 12 or 13 depending on your optional card choice. Stay safe, prioritize humanoid drone enemies and kill as quickly as possible. Time for the second build, being the VIP freeze build. Using freezing damage against bigger enemies for that 3 times damage boost offered. Your skill card choices for this build are Icy Precision. Critical hits with active reloaded precision weapons will cause up to 30% freezing damage to enemies hit. Frozen enemies do take triple damage. Exploit Weakness. Increases critical damage dealt by up to 55%. Critical damage boost is applied to all weapons. Ambush. Enemies with more than 90% health will take up to 100% additional critical damage. The extra damage will be enough to take out most smaller enemies. Here you have a choice. Modified M-Bar, granting up to 30% additional damage and active effects with the M-Bar rifle. Modified Longshot, granting up to 30% additional damage and active effects with the Longshot rifle. Here you have another choice. Explosive Critical Kill, causing critical kills to explode, dealing up to 85% damage to surrounding enemies. Steady Hand, being hit by an enemy will cause you to stagger when aiming. This card reduces that by up to 75%. Perks once again, which should be taken in this order. Precision Rifle Damage, increasing your overall damage with all precision rifles by up to 50%. This buff stacks additively with the modified weapon skill cards. Ammo Capacity, granting up to double ammo capacity for all weapons. This also increases the amount of ammo restored after a wave completion. Critical Damage, dealing up to 50% additional critical damage with all weapons. This perk only affects critical hits, so aim for the head. Damage Cooldown, increases the cooldown you get from causing damage by up to 50%. The passive cooldown of X-Ray will be unaffected. Playing shorter games such as Horde Frenzy, I would suggest only putting a couple of points into your first two choices. You can sway more to precision rifle damage if your Icy Precision card is a higher rank. Prioritise your Markser and possibly swap out your long shot for the M-Bar if you prefer that. Your pistol and grenade choice is not really important once again. Our VIP freeze build synergizes well with Veteran. The Marksman pairs really well with this class, able to quickly get a lot of headshot, demolitions or Tactician. These boss killers will appreciate an extra damage they can now deal to frozen enemies. The Marksman will struggle when paired with Nomad. Feared enemies run away, and this can affect bigger enemies like Scions, but not bosses. Slugger. When using Heavy Hitter, enemies are continually staggered, making critical hits difficult, but not impossible. Should any of the following mutators show up in your game, please avoid this build or at the very least modify it. Close Range Gambit. You can use this VIP freeze build up to and including Master difficulty, and requires a minimum class level of 16. Freezing targets will increase everyone's damage output against them. Let's continue to keep these videos short. Like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't. Other social links are in the description box below. Take it easy guys, and I will catch you in the next one.